that can read your license plate and more from space. Any organized terrorist camp that could be formed, we can send a drone in there and take it out, which is what Biden suggests. But instead, we're over there with hundreds of thousands of troops at the cost of $1 million a year per troop. This is from the Defense Analysis Group, that there is literally costing us $1 million per year per troop we have over in the Middle East. Now, who is benefiting from this? Maybe Halliburton, that's selling the gasoline for $150 a gallon. So I think that people have got to realize that there is an enormous power and lucrative financial arrangements that come through selling this fear. And the UFO subculture, and I hate to say it, the New Age community by association, has taken this bait hook, line, and sinker. And they're going to have to realize that this has been an enormous mistake, and we have to back off of it. So I think that we're going to have to realize that, fear is the mind killer, and we need to come together spiritually and make peaceful contact, and we can do that. And that's what we're trying. The reason I spend still 4 or 5 weeks a year doing this, and we have a schedule up at CSETI.org. I don't have it here in front of me. For the events we're going to be having, where people can spend a week with us, with our entire senior team, by the way. It's not just me, but it's 7 or 8 people who have been doing this for more than a decade. And we're going to be even doing it in England in July. We're going to go over there in the crop circles, and we'll be with people, a small group, and we'll be making contact. And, that's where we had the extraterrestrial vehicle land in 1992, the 100-foot diameter disc that was hovering right above the field. And these are things that are life-transforming experiences for people to participate in. And some of them are these week-long events, and we're going to do a few of the shorter ones, like the one that's coming up in Orange County in February, and it's going to be out near Irvine. And we have actually reserved a state park and a lake that we'll have just for our group for February 18th, 19th, and 20th. And so the Marco Island one will be a full week, though, and that's in March, 6th through 12th. And the information for that, like I said, is at CSETI.org. But people, when they learn how to do these events, and they can form their own team. And this is what's happened. We had a group up outside Montreal that formed. They came to one of these weekend events a couple years ago, and they've been going out. They have literally had craft appear over their group. They have had amazing contact events, very personal, with their group, and it's been wonderful. And I have to say, a lot of people say, "Oh, I'd be afraid." I said, "Look, you might be afraid of the humans in the military, but the ETs." I said, "These are extremely enlightened, compassionate beings, because if you are traveling faster than the speed of light, and you're communicating using thought and consciousness and the electronics that interface with thought and consciousness, which is what they have, you're at a point where you really are understanding the heart of compassion, and that is that consciousness and mind, each of us are awake through the same light of the single great being. And this is something you can't escape if you reach that level of awareness, and that level of where basically mysticism meets science, where consciousness and the science of consciousness meets the physics of transdimensional communications and transportation. And so that's where our civilization is heading, in fits and starts. But that's the ETs that are here are all of those kind of beings. I mean, all of our experiences now for 20 years we've been doing this have been just the most wonderful, positive, beautiful. These are beings that are of enormous enlightenment and God consciousness, and it's just an amazing experience. And it's so opposite from what you see in the videos and movies and TVs on the subject.
Oh, absolutely. Can you share something that, since so many people in your groups have had contact, what is the form of communication? I mean, what are they saying to us that we would want to know about? Can you share anything that they're trying to communicate to us?
Well, I think with the last chapter in this new book, Contact, Countdown to Transformation, the one that has the DVD that has all the images of our contact.
That sounds great.
Actually has a whole chapter of what these messages have been. But
good.
It's very, very clear that it's about the future about they're wanting to have a relationship with us when we're peaceful, about the urgency of transforming the situation. And there's, it's clear, and even by their actions, I mean, deeds are always stronger than anything else. We have seen that they are very concerned, for example, with the environment. We have documented and actually seen on our team, and the French government, for example, has documented this, where there have been ET craft that are taking plant samples and soil samples and animal samples because they're very concerned about the amount of radiation and pollution that's damaging the biosphere. So that's one of their concerns, because so that is a specific area of concern. A very big area of concern is the fact that we're weaponizing space, and that we have taken some of these really advanced electronic systems. It's not like it's a missile or an old-fashioned, laser type thing. These are what are called scalar longitudinal, kind of like that spiral over Norway, which was one of our tests. We were testing one of these weapon systems. That was actually a shot across the bow for Obama, pretty much when he was getting his Nobel Peace Prize in last November.
Wow.
Oh yeah, we know that's what it was. I was told about it a week before it happened by the people in the intelligence community that I have access to.
Well, they would turn this into a Death Star, wouldn't they?
Yeah, of course, and they have. And this is one of the real problems, is that when extraterrestrial vehicles materialize in the linear space-time, we have space-based weapons that are part of this classified system that pick those up and target them. In fact, I have a man, one of the Disclosure Project witnesses, back in 1965, he said they already had platforms and systems in space that targeted these objects and successfully were able to hit them. So now that was, of course, 46 years ago. So imagine what exists today. And one of the problems, and this is a huge problem, is when we're making contact, we always communicate to the ETs for them to manifest in any way that's safe and appropriate for that time and place, because we have had craft fully materialize, and then right in front of us they dematerialize instantly, and then shortly thereafter there'll be an a jet coming in at a couple hundred feet above us. It's a military craft out of Edwards or someplace that will be loaded with electronic warfare equipment, and so we're in a situation where we're on the front line of a sort of a unofficial citizens diplomacy, but it's a serious operation. And then when people come to these events, they're not only going to see, in many cases, the ET manifestations and all the different ways they may manifest around us, whether it be in light or orbs or tones or physical craft or what have you. We have had ETs on the ground with us.
Wow.
Now, but at the same time, we will have jets, we'll have other assets come in that are trying to disrupt the event. So it's a very dynamic thing. It's nothing boring about it. So, it's like, it's awesome. But, like this event we're going to do in Orange County, we're going to spend every afternoon going through all this information and learning the meditation techniques. I'm actually going to do a puja and teach people a mantra meditation. We're going to go then out at night, every night for 4 or 5 hours under the stars. And we're going to spend that time then actually practicing the protocols and making contact. And we do that every night. So,
I'd love to do that.
Yeah, it's a wonderful experience. And we're going to do that, like I said, we have several events planned for this year. And
you ever get up to Northern California?
Yes, we're there every year at Mount Shasta up near the Oregon border. Okay. And we're going to be up at Mount Shasta in let's see, it's August 28th through September 3rd of this year at Mount Shasta, and we're going to then be at Joshua Tree in California, October 30th through November 5th. So, we do that every year, and those are whole week-long events. But this shorter 3-day event is in Orange County in February 18th, 19th, and 20th. And not everyone can take a whole week off to do it, so we're trying to do some of these shorter ones. And we may be doing one in Texas and in North Carolina, some shorter ones also this year. So what we're trying to do is get as many people trained, and we're also going to have up at disclosureproject.org an entire training program so that people who cannot come to these events can actually get the whole training kit and program online and have it sent to them, and it'll include all of these books and DVDs and meditation CDs and a training manual and all of that, and including all the electronic tones that we've recorded when we've had ET contact and in the crop circles that you can then send out into space over a radio and to help make contact. So all that instructional material will be available online at disclosureproject.org, and soon, in the next month or so, we hope to have an iPhone and iPad app that you can download right onto your iPhone, and it will actually turn the iPhone into something where you can play the tones, you can have my meditations play, you will be able to actually turn the iPhone into a magnetometer that picks up the magnetic field flux when an ET craft is approaching. It's so cool. This is the coolest app that will ever be created, that's ever been created, and that's going to be coming out pretty soon too. So if people want notification of these events, by the way, they can go to disclosureproject.org and sign up for our mailing list for free, and we'll just send you out notices when all these things are happening.
Well, wonderful. Before we have to wrap it up and get the information about the various groups that people can get involved with, what do you feel is the most important message or information that you could share with us today before we go?
Well, I think the most important information for people to hear is that each person has both the capability and the responsibility to learn about this issue and manifest a new civilization, a transformed civilization. And they can do it through consciousness, contact, disclosure, and supporting getting these energy systems out. And that people have this within them. Everything we need to live for the next 500,000 years on Earth without pollution, without poverty, and a state of enlightenment is already on the Earth today. What has been lacking is people coming together and the moral leadership to make that the new paradigm. And so if people understand that, it's a message of great hope, really, because it's not like we even have to discover the sciences. They're here already.
They're there,
and,
right.
And they're here. So we have to create, we have to be the vehicle. We have to allow the greater spirit that we could be the vehicle for this knowledge and these sciences and this transformation to happen. And every single person has that capability within them.
Well, that's beautiful. And I agree with you totally on that. Stephen, what's the name of your new book that's come out?
It's called Contact, Countdown to Transformation.
Okay, I want to get that for sure. And then before we go, would you please share your various websites? And you have a sister site, which is the Orion Project, isn't it?
No, not that one at this point. We have... There are three primary websites, CSETI.org, CSETI.org, for the contact training programs, and then disclosureproject.org that has a lot of the information about all the witnesses, but also has the online store where you can order these books and things. And then there's the OrionProject.org, which is the nonprofit that's working to put together the resources and the people to bring out these new energy and propulsion systems. And that website, the OrionProject.org, has an enormous number of research papers and links to scientific papers and historical evidence of all of this. So those are the three primary sites that people would want to go to.
And you also have been doing a radio show with my friend Maureen Moss over at World Puja, haven't you?
Oh yes, she's wonderful at the World Puja Network. Yeah, and in fact, we do a World Puja show every other week, and where we have different people on who are on our team to talk about the experiences we've had in contact or to update people on the Disclosure Project. And I'm the host of that show, and we do that every 2 weeks. So yeah, people can go to World Puja Network and find out about that and listen to those. Wonderful.
Well, Stephen, you are just an amazing person, and I admire everything you're doing. I follow it closely, and I thank you for being here on the show, and I encourage everybody to follow, what you've said and go to these projects and research them and start taking action. Your work is really terrific.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate your help and support.
Well, you can come back on the show anytime you want when you have 5 minutes to spare.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, keep up the great work. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.